Good morning, Leopard lover and Linda from California. You two are the first. Just please let me know if you can hear me. Perfect. Thank you, Leopard lover. So, what we have here is the Inkoveni female, and she's feeding on a bushbuck kill. And then, oops. Right down here, we have a spotted hyena. Over there, we have a second spotted hyena. Yeah, so this is the Inkoveni female. Her two cubs are also in the area, but I think they've already fed and they're having a little nap. And also not too far from where we are members of the Kumbula Pride. I think probably about 8 individuals, some lionesses and some youngsters. Well, young. They ran in on some buffalo bulls, but didn't have any luck. Good morning, Nadav. Surprised that you're up this early. Yeah, Nadav, you're always up for the madness. In fact, also just let me know if the audio quality is good and also if the video quality is good. Mr. Wild UAE 87. This tree is called an apple leaf. They get much bigger than this. And the reason for that name is I'm not going to reach over and grab a leaf now, but if you grab a leaf and you crunch it in your hands, it sounds exactly the same as when you bite into an apple. Yes, leopard lover, she has a beautiful coat on her, very golden on top. And so again, a couple of people asking, this is a female leopard known as the Nkoveni female. That's Nkovni. She does have two cubs. They're also nearby. They've already fed on the carcass, and I think they're probably having a nap or goofing around. They're very close to we're on the banks of the Sand River, and they were last seen in some reeds next to a hippo pool here, where the visual isn't that great. BC Brendan Cole from Joburg, hello. I hope this makes you miss us even more. And again, folks, just a quick check if someone can just tell me if the audio and the video quality are both good. I want to make sure we're giving you the best picture that we can. So Chris Souza asking who the father of the cubs are. Yes, so it is probably most likely the Maxim's male. There is a possibility that it could also be the Flat Rock male, but I think Maxim's male is probably right. Female leopards will try and mate with as many males as they can when they're in heat, and to make them, as many males as possible think that they're the fathers of the cubs, which means there's a less of a like. Just trying to get used to this gimbal. There is a spot of the hyena at my feet here. So I just noticed my microphone had fallen off my chest and sitting on my lap. So if the audio was a bit off, then that's why. Let's get nice and close in on this female. So they've already consumed about half of this carcass. So female bushbuck is a relatively small antelope. And there's still enough meat here, I think, for them to probably take the rest of the morning to finish it off. Let's quickly go down to this. You can see ever opportunistic hyenas waiting for little scraps to fall down. This must be a quite like a bit of punishment for them because the kill is so close, but they just can't reach it. Yeah, so Joseph saying leopards are very dangerous wild animals. So yeah, Joseph, any wild animal is potentially dangerous if threatened. And she does not care in the slightest that I'm here. You know, these animals won't leave it up to our imaginations to guess whether or not they are upset. They will tell you in no uncertain terms. So like a house cat, they will bare their teeth and their ears will fold back. Tail might even swish a bit, and she couldn't care less. So Chris asking how many different clans of hyenas we see on the reserve. So we don't actually keep track of hyenas in the same way that we do lions and leopards. But they're probably about 4 or 5 clans. And it's arguably one of the best things to see in the few things beat a good hyena sighting, especially when 2 clans are going at it over a kill. There's a couple videos on our YouTube channel, I think titled something like Clan Wars or Hyena Clans Fight. Yeah, the action and the audio is almost second to none. So Mr. Wild UAE asking about the Gary males or the Birmingham boys. So they are members of the Kumbula Pride, probably about 500 meters from where I am now, but the males aren't with them. I did hear them 2 nights ago. I think they were seen 2 days ago. I've been in camp quite a lot recently. John Boy, good morning, and Brian Robert Bond, welcome back. For those of you joining us, we're with the Inkoveni female feeding on a bushbuck kill. There are 2 hyenas lurking underneath her. There's one. Her cubs are also nearby, but they've already fed on the carcass and are probably having a bit of a nap now. And then not too far from where we are now are members of the Kumbula Pride. So you can see it's a bit of a windy morning. Cold front is beginning to move in over the Leopard. So Mr. UAE, so yeah, she actually some of our more prominent leopards were killed by lions, especially the Kekelezi female, the bicycle crossing male, the treehouse male. But actually the biggest threat to leopard cubs is male leopards who aren't the fathers. You know, they're much more likely to get killed by a male leopard than by lions. See this hyena must be salivating. So the kill's only about a meter north of his head, but just out of reach. And again, if someone can just confirm for me if the video quality is good with the connection as well as the quality of the image, and then also if you can hear me clearly. So Jason, her cubs are roughly, I think, 5-6 months old now. Thank you, John Boy. Big cat fan. The time in South Africa now is, I don't actually have I'm using my phone. Just give me a second. 9 o'clock in the morning. So John Boy, she's eating a bushbuck ewe, so a female bushbuck. Kirill Dreamer, yes, we have seen the Maximus male recently, and he is looking as good as ever, prime condition. Uh, 4-5 Dan, I'm currently with Adingwe. She's still feeding in the tree of the bushbuck kill. 2 hyenas at the base. When you get here, stand by and I'll make space for you. Sorry, I can't copy you. A lot of attitude. Folks, so as you can hear, there's a friend of mine, Dan, coming into the sighting with his guests. So we're going to make space for them. We'll go have a quick look, see if we can find the lions that were nearby, and then maybe come back here just now. All right, so just give me 2 seconds. There's a hyena. Hyena doesn't want to move. That's the remains of a buff. Now, folks, we're just going to leave the Inkaveni female feeding on kill just to give some of our guests a chance to view her. And we'll quickly go look for those lions that were seen in this vicinity earlier on. So as you can see, we're right on the banks of the Sand River.
In our stationary part of General Quarry, taking travel away from stationary. Just seem to stop and probably get a lot of beachy to it after.
As I said, the lions we're going to go, that were seen in this area earlier, members of the Kambula Pride, some of the lionesses still with some of the subadults. So in total, the Pride is now pretty much over 30 lions, but we hardly ever see, well, actually we've never seen all 30 together. That's because the subadults are on their way out, well, at least the males. The females will yet to see if they will leave with them or if they will rejoin the adults. There are quite a few new young cubs, some like only a couple of weeks old. Yeah, so those areas are zoned until the cubs get a bit older. Uh, 6X Gareth after.
Okay.
Sorry, just confirm. Oh, are all the lines there, or some still on Sanford Drive?
I think the bulk of them are on Sanford Drive. It's just the 3 lions that are north, south of General Quarry, actually south of the junction, but it's General Nature. The one of the lionesses of these 2 is the brother of the fucker.
Okay, thank you.
And if you want to have a look, that subadult male that was at the base of Three Rivers female not so long ago and damaged hindquarters, I think it's what the bulk of line is. He was thin, but he seems to have killed.
Okay. Yes, so Chris, you heard that right. So it looks like these lions that were on this road I just drove have split up. Some of the lionesses have gone further west. And I think some of the subadults maybe have gone more into the river. I'm just going to turn around and have a look. And yeah, there was one male, one of the young males was, looks like he'd been attacked. He had some scarring on his, or cuts on his hind quarters. And that was just Gareth letting me know that he's with them and looks a bit worse for wear. So that's almost pretty much par for the course when it comes to young male. Yeah, male lion has a hell of a tough life. From when they start becoming nomadic until when they establish themselves, then have to spend their lives, well, at least a part of it, defending and protecting their territory. So it's just going to be off the comments for a bit, just while I look so I can see where these other lions have gone. Ah, there they are. Doing what lions typically do. It's like they're all fast asleep. So we might actually have a quick look at these ones and then go find the lionesses. Folks, one of the most diverse and productive rivers in the world, Sand River. So, big cat fan, these are members of the Kambula Pride, also known in parts of the Sabi Sand as the Nsebu Pride. This is very far from being the full complement of the pride. It's like there are about 9 individuals here actually. Some females and some sub-adults, and there are a couple more a little bit further west of us. Cool. So Chris Souza referring to I think the second or third last video we posted on YouTube about these sub-adults, and one of the lionesses going after a buffalo bull, and the lioness got a buffalo flicked it with its horns up in the air. It did penetrate, but she's fine. She has, yeah, even kind of immediately after it happened, she limped a bit, but there was nothing serious. Yeah, she definitely got some. That buffalo gave her some good airtime. Have you watched? That buffalo was seeing its last day. And the lions had it, and it was just a matter of them trying to wear it down. The buffalo then moved up onto the bank into some thicker vegetation, spotted a herd of elephants, and didn't really think twice, and just ran straight at the herd of elephants. And it's difficult to say for a fact that this is what was going through its mind, but I suppose you can make the case for it that it was a deliberate attempt to evade the lions, knowing that if it ran through the elephants and got the elephants all disgruntled, then that would stop the lions from pursuing it, and it did temporarily, and it gave the buffalo enough of a window to gap it.
There's a bit where it's rich between Manialeti and Sand River, the next 5 for camping break.
Kimberley, we're looking at members of the Kimberley Pride. Let me just get a proper count here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, I'm not a ranger because I was good at maths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 lions here. So it looks like what these lions often do, especially in the winter months when there's not much water further afield, and a lot of animals will come down to the Sand River to drink. Actually, looking at this lioness that's looking directly at us now, you can see that little star-shaped scar on the left side of her nose, to the right as we look at it. That's one of her identifying features, and she has cubs at the moment. She gave birth in front of Rat Race Camp a couple of weeks ago. So she is one of the new mothers. Some of, I think, 9 of the members at Sampit Crossing, Western Bank, and then Gareth left, I think, another 3 lionesses to themselves. Track Boss, Quarry, Center Track, all their strip.
Promise?
What I was saying really is just the lions often will rest like this on the riverbank during the day, and they'll hope to spot something coming down to drink and then hunt. So this time of year they can hunt it pretty much any time of the day. You often see lion kills happening, middle of the day. So I'll just quickly show you that the river is right behind us here. LP, yes, you did miss the update, but not to worry, it's not. She's fine. Yeah, Mr. Wild UAE. So yeah, we, if anyone joined us on that live stream, it was a little bit frustrating because we followed a pack of 15 Cape hunting, wild dogs on the hunt. And when they eventually did kill 2 impala, but just as that happened, we went into an area where we don't have connection. So the live stream cut off, but we managed to watch them kill 2 impala and then clash and then fight over, have one of them at least stolen by 4 hyenas. Yeah, but sorry that we couldn't bring that to you. Some of the limitations we have here being out in the bush is that our network coverage is not that great. So Chris asking what the dynamics are of the Pride at the moment. So it is, my best response would probably just be a big question mark, because we're still seeing them in mixed groups. So sometimes just the lionesses on their own, sometimes the subadults, sometimes all of them together, and sometimes all the subadults. So it's difficult to say at the moment just how it will unfold. So I'm pretty certain the young males will go their own way, and then the question is, will the young females, 6 of them, stay with their mothers, which will then in essence be a pride of 12 females, adult females, or will they break away and create their own pride, as in fact their mothers did, and their mothers' mothers? Pride has a history of breaking away. And then So then, as far as new cubs are concerned, the oldest, or the one lioness, the oldest litter is a litter of 5, so about 5-6 months old now, and at least 2 other lionesses have given birth. We've got brief glimpses of both those cubs, but they're still very, very young. We watched as the mothers carried them from one den to another, but because they're still very young, we kind of closed that area off just initially. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll start viewing those cubs. Sorry, Chris, I don't know if, I hope that to some extent answers your question. 4-5 Dan, 5-2. Dan, are you still with the Inkwene female? Okay. Folks, so Dan is still with the Inkwene female. Let's go to where, so the other some of the other members of the pride were left not too far from here. Just a short 5-minute drive. Let's go see what they're up to. And then maybe when Dan leaves the Inkwene female, we can go back there. So it's quite nice. We've got these lines here, literally not even 500 meters away is the Inkwene female with both her cubs and a hyena, or 2 hyenas. And then another 500-600 meters in that direction is some of the other pride members. Let's have a quick look for them. So again, just excuse my lack of replies to the comments just while I'm driving. Be responsible and keep my eyes on the road. Not that we're driving it in. Five two is leaving the 9 members of the Kambula Pride at Sampit Crossing to themselves. Keep to follow up on the lines over south of the old airstrip. So just to give you an idea of where we are on the map, we're about 500 meters south of Mala Mala Camp and Sable Camp, just on the banks of the Sand River. If I turned right at that fork, would have taken me to the Inkwene female with cubs. We're turning left to go have a look for the other members of the Kambula Pride. And apparently one of the lionesses there is the mother of the 5 older cubs. So hopefully they're still there, and then hopefully when we get there, she decides that it's time to go back to her cubs. Nice herd of impala. Alright, so just in front of me there, you can see the lionesses.
The fifth story of coffee, just four-wheel drive. Before explanation.
Gareth, I just confirmed there were 3 lionesses at the last position, south of the old airstrip.
And they live there too.
Alright, copy, thank you. Right, so yeah, these 2 lionesses, looks like the one on the left, I think, is the mother of the 5 older cubs. Just have to see her face properly. And then, so sorry, just to catch up on some of your questions. So tiger jaw. Yes, so the Mapocho, or what we call the Moati males, and they spent most of their period as dominant males on Mala Mala. So they actually originated from a pride. They were born into a pride called the Eiffel Pride, which was one of our longest serving prides. That pride is also known as the Sparta Pride. So they were born into that pride, and then ended up being in control of quite a few different prides, including that pride, during, I suppose, what can be called their reign of terror, in which they killed many other lions. To Haley, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but the Nkuhuma Pride were last seen, I think we last saw them 2 days ago in the kind of northwestern quadrant of our reserve. Not all of them, just I think some of the lioness and some of the subadults. And then we did see some of the lionesses with the small new cubs along our northern boundary where the Moati River runs through it. Mr. Wild UAE, do you see any aardwolf in Mala Mala? We have seen one before, although we didn't see it with our own eyes. It was caught on a camera trap. It's actually, that video is on YouTube somewhere, where we do like a camera trap reveal. But yeah, they are very, very, very uncommon in this area. So Russ, are you asking where the hyenas are? If you missed the earlier part of this live stream, there were 2 hyenas with us, lurking underneath the Inkaveni female leopard as she was feeding on a bushbuck kill. If these lions don't do anything, then we'll probably go back to that female and those hyenas. Not that number sounds a bit high. I don't think that's probably not realistic because there are a lot of lions. I mean, sorry, there are a lot of hyenas here, and I severely doubt they would have killed that many. No doubt they would have killed some, but I think maybe closer to 6% as opposed to 60%. Yeah, it's that lioness is, yeah, you mean, let me zoom in on that for you. She's not really putting much weight or anything on it now, but that is a lot of muscle. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, we did do quite a fair amount of live streaming during lockdown. We are a very amateur setup. I'm kind of here with a old Samsung cell phone and a little booster kit, and so we have invested a bit in our kit, but it's still, yeah, we're not really. Thank you, Claudia. Yes, as we had started to do quite a few live streams during lockdown, and then as we started receiving guests again, we it's probably the worst excuse in the world, but we didn't have time to do live streams, and we are going to start trying to do more. We did one the other day, and hopefully we'll be able to. Actually, we did two the other day. Hopefully we're able to start doing a few more. And just again, for anyone just joining us, these are two lionesses from the Kumbula Pride. We've also viewed this morning another 9 members of the Pride, not too far from here. And not too far from them, we started this live stream with the Nkaveni female leopard feeding off a bushbuck kill with 2 hyenas underneath. Her 2 cubs are also in the area, although we didn't get a glimpse of them. They were probably sleeping with their bellies full. But one of the reasons I just want to wait here a little bit longer is because the lioness, that one on the left, is the mother of the 5, the kind of the new batch of Kumbula Pride litters. It's the oldest litter of 5, and she's their mother. And it would be nice if she actually, gets up and goes back to her cubs. Getu, so unfortunately we can't give you any times because our main jobs are involved. The biggest part of our job is involved with guests. Basically, whenever we have a chance, we'll come out and live stream. So it'll be very short notice. So if you just click the like, subscribe, and the little bell icon, you should get notifications of when we do go live. If we can, we'll try to give you a couple hours notice. But like this morning, I had a window that just kind of suddenly opened up, and I just grabbed our kit and headed out. So often it's very much a last-minute call. For now, at least, I think in the future we will look to have a more scheduled and structured live streaming program. Doing a live stream that's not really about going out and looking for animals, but more about kind of like a Q&A session where we can answer your questions and also give you like a weekly update on the different sightings and dynamics, lions and leopards, especially on the reserve. So that might become pretty much a thing that we can pencil into the calendar, and we'll let you know once we've decided on that. 4-5 Dan 5-2. Dan, is there any change there?
She shifted the carcass. It looks like she may have finished feeding now. She's just lying on top of the kill. I don't know if she may potentially try to
Thank you. So that lioness on the left lifted up her head and looked at us, which allowed me to to confirm that it is the mother of the 5 older cubs. She's got a scar kind of on the bottom, like on the right-hand side of her lip, in between the mouth and the nose, kind of like a horizontal scar, which is one of her identifying features. Whereas the lioness we saw earlier, the mother of one of the new litters, she had one on the left-hand side, and it's more of a kind of a star-shaped or a kind of blotch. This one is like a line. But you have to be careful when using scars to identify lions, because but so far she's had that scar for a while. Right, so let's let me know what you think. We can sit here and wait a bit for these 2 lionesses, see if the mother gets up and maybe goes to her cubs, or we can go back to the 9 lions that were lying on the banks of the river, pretty much doing this. Okay, so far Claudia suggesting we sit and wait here. If she sees if she goes back to her cubs, we certainly can. So horse lover, this is the Kumbula Pride, or at least members of the Kumbula Pride. Same pride as the lions we saw earlier. Yeah, I mean, look, this is one of those difficult decisions where sometimes you're spoiled for choice, or you've got too many different options. But to predict what they're going to do is difficult. It's a very cool, windy day. Yeah, so I mean, so much depends on how long ago she left her cubs. We're not quite sure if she just left them earlier this morning, or if she left them already yesterday or the day before. If she had left them yesterday, then there's a higher chance of her going back to the cubs now. But if she just left them this morning, then she probably won't. But I think we'll sit here for a bit. Dan, one of our other rangers, is still with the Inkoveni female. There's only space there for 1 vehicle, so I think we'll sit and wait here with these lionesses until Dan leaves. And once Dan leaves, maybe we'll go back to the Inkoveni female and see if she meets up with her two little rugrats. LP asking the age of the cubs. So the mother on the left of screen is a litter of 5, and they're roughly 6 months old. And then there are 2 other new litters, but they're still very young, only a couple weeks old. Stu B, do we think the evoker males will finally confront the gyre males, or do you think they'll be back and forth for a while? Again, very difficult to say. It looked a couple months ago like the evoker males were, well, the northern evoker males were, you know, that's a kind of, for saying, and a power shift was imminent, or at least the attempt to shift power was imminent. They have taken their foot off the gas slightly. Whether or not they actually had a confrontation and kind of decided maybe this wasn't the time and they needed wait for the gyre males maybe to get a bit older. Yeah, so there have been lots of reports that, you know, you see one of the male lions limping and, you know, little new scar or a cut on one, and then people draw conclusions from that. So there, I mean, there is a chance that they did have a confrontation, but it's all guesswork, and we haven't actually seen them go at it. So Chris, yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like some people think they might have, they think there's a chance they had a confrontation, but we can't say it for a fact because nobody actually saw it. It's kind of guesswork. Yeah, so yeah, Stu was saying they have, we've seen them once had a confrontation, but not a physical interaction. This was already 2 months ago maybe, where the gyre male was mating with the Kumbula lioness. One of the northern evoker males arrived in the area. The gyre male proceeded to run away with the evoker male chasing him. But it was probably more of a tactical retreat from the gyre male into the core of his territory than him kind of running scared. Gyre males are don't trip. How long does it take for them to heal? I don't know if I can give you an exact answer, but not if it's a kind of just like a flesh wound. It really doesn't take long to heal at all. Like I think in a couple of months in there, you won't even know that they had an injury. I mean, I remember seeing the Tamburi female leopard with a massive cut on her rump. It was probably, about 1.5 feet long and probably about, half a foot wide, where it was just all you could see was flesh. And if you looked at the Tamburi female 6 months later, I mean, you couldn't even see any scarring. And yes, Kimberly, quite correct. It was just the one gyre male that had that kind of bad hobble. Although I will say it's very common to see lions limping, so there might have been a sighting where you would have seen both of them limping. But I mean, that can come from a bit of pins and needles. It can come from a thorn. Although the one male who we are talking about, yeah, that was a bit more of a serious limp. Yeah, Chris, we only actually see two of those northern Avoca males here. We don't see the third one. I don't know. Do all three ever join up north of us, or is it have they also split? Because we've never seen the third one. No, thank you. Okay, thanks, Chris. So the two met up with the third one, and they didn't have a friendly encounter. It was interesting. I wonder why they split up in the first place. Yeah, for male coalitions in this area, it's pretty much it's a numbers game. The more of you, the better. Typical, Kimberly. Typical. All right, so Claudia, I think we might have to overrule your decision. These lionesses haven't even lifted their heads since. So I think let's take a drive back quickly to those other lions, see what they're up to, and then maybe head over to the Inkoveni female leopard and her cub. If y'all are okay with that. Claudia, I don't even trust my own judgment. I think, yeah, sometimes you just have to make a call. And so I wouldn't be surprised if these lions spent the next couple of hours here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we left and came back 5 minutes later and they were gone. Yeah, out here, you never know what happens. Yeah, I've left sleeping lions before. We were watching a pride of, it was about 12 lionesses, lionesses with youngsters, and they were doing exactly what these two lions are doing now. We left to go have a coffee break. When we came back, they were in the same place, but there was a dead buffalo with them. So we watched them sleep for 2 hours, left for 15 minutes when all the action happened, and came back and just watched them eat. All right, let's go see what the other ones are doing. Five two is leaving the two lionesses south of the old airstrip, long track old airstrip, southern track old airstrip, track past the quarry to themselves. So just some random trivia for you while we drive. If you know, Mala Mala was the first game reserve in South Africa to switch from hunting safaris to photographic safaris. And back in those days, this little open area in front of us here was our airstrip. So this is where the planes used to land when people flew in. And there was a famous quote from one of the first planes that landed here. One of the staff from the Shangaan tribe asked the pilot, approached the pilot and asked him, when your bird has chicks, can I have one? Yeah, so that used to be our airstrip there, just an open patch of ground where the planes used to come in. Now we have a full-on asphalt 1.8 kilometer strip that can take Learjets. How times change. But what hasn't changed much is what you're looking at now. The bushveld, the animals, the dynamics, the drama. So we'll let Dan go have a quick look for those, well, see what those 9 lines are doing, and we'll go to the Nkaveni female. Hopefully catch a glimpse of her cubs.
And Dan can have the last hop up.
Now, folks, just forgive me for not replying to any comments now, just while I drive. Yeah, so what we're hoping for is that the Nkaveni female will call out her cubs, give us a nice view of them. Maybe even let them finish off what little is left of that carcass. So I actually think the cubs are probably hiding down here somewhere. But yeah, let's see. Let's see if the mother is still where we left her earlier this morning. One of the big advantages of visiting private game reserves like Mala Mala as opposed to going to national parks, and this is not to knock national, we love going to the national parks, but the ability to drive off-road is an absolute winner. All right, so it looks like the Nkaveni female is still in this tree here. Just get a bit closer to her. All right, so not as good a view as we had earlier. So that's the Nkaveni female's backside in this apple leaf tree. Her head is just behind the branches there, and she's she's pretty much lying on top of her bushbuck hill, basically making sure there's no chance that it falls out to these Yeah, that's correct, Linda. You can see the front of the vehicle here, and the Hyena right there. Yeah, I never like to use the word habituated because it gives a false impression that they are tame to some extent. I prefer saying they are tolerant of the vehicles.